Today's Sunday. This week's vlog is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to talk about tips on staying motivated when you're a filmmaker or creative. One of the things I've been struggling with for the past week is motivation. There were a couple of creative setbacks that really affected me, and I ended up getting depressed and not very motivated, and I ended up writing a article about depression and filmmaking. I think as creatives, one of the things that all of us struggle with from time to time is maintaining or keeping motivation up. And so this week I thought I would talk about some tips and some things to think about when you're feeling that the motivation is fading, when you don't want to sit down and edit, when you don't want to go out and shoot, when you don't want to sit down and write, and talk about some things to help set you up for success and to help you keep pushing your projects forward. One of the first things you want to think about is, what is your why? Why are you trying to be a filmmaker? Why are you trying to be a screenwriter? What is your focus? Because when it comes down to it, if you are trying to get a huge audience, or if you're trying to make money off of it, it's going to be a tough road for you. When I was starting out as a writer, and when I was writing my first plays, I lived in New York for a little while, and I was working as a stage manager and a production manager for a small theater company. In exchange for my work, they gave me a place to stay in New York. At this theater, we'd have rehearsals that would start around 7 or 8, and the rehearsals would go to sometimes 11 o'clock or midnight. And then after everybody had left and I had the theater to myself, I'd go to the green room where I was staying, and I would write script pages. And I would be up until 2 or 3 in the morning writing my first plays. I got so much enjoyment out of just the pure writing. I didn't have a concept that anyone would be interested in reading it or anyone would be interested in producing it. And I just got so much satisfaction from just making the work. The further away you get from that enjoyment, when you're looking at bills and you're in debt, and you have colleagues that find success, when you start looking at those externals and focusing on those externals, you just get more and more miserable. I'm saying that from experience. I've found more enjoyment from sitting down and writing a script or thinking about a storyline than a lot of things in my life. And it's hard to maintain that focus. Anytime that you feel that your motivation is waning, you got to think about, what is your why. You got to think about why are you trying to do what you're doing. I mean, if the bottom line is that you're trying to make a living at it, I totally see where you're coming from. Long run, I'd love to make a living at it. With filmmaking, you're probably going to be better off going into some kind of production situation where you're either doing videography for weddings, or you start a production company, and with that, at some point, you will make money at it. I'm in for the long haul. I want to make art. I want to tell stories, and that's my motivation. Tip number 2 is self-care. That includes getting enough sleep, taking time off from your main goal, giving yourself time to do something fun, catch a movie, take a weekend off. And when you're pushing, and if you don't get enough sleep, you're going to wear yourself down. I found that if I'm running on 6 or 7 hours of sleep, it's a lot easier for me it's a lot harder for me to concentrate. I love getting 8 or 9 hours of sleep. Sometimes I'm not able to pull it off, but when I get a full night's sleep, I feel a lot better. feel a lot more focused the next day. One of the things that I've been trying to do lately is kicking off my morning with a big glass of water. Really helps me to wake up and get rehydrated. The last tip I'm going to give on keeping your motivation up is creating small goals for yourself. For example, if you want to write a screenplay, don't sit down and think, okay, I gotta write this screenplay. Plan on, giving yourself an hour or an hour and a half to sit down and write. And just think, I want to get 5 pages done, or I want to get a beat done, or I want to get a scene done. The day after I say the tip about getting enough sleep, I end up waking up at about 5 in the morning. Definitely not enough sleep.